Hey, this is Bold and Brash. You are with Peter Anthony and Jennifer Yeo today. And we're excited. We're going to do a great show for you. What we're going to focus on are things that you might have never seen and might be told to you in a new way. It will be impactful. Hit like, hit subscribe, sit down, have a cup of coffee, and enjoy the show. And Jennifer, man, I'm excited to be here. I got to see 10 of your shows being filmed. Your podcast is awesome. You have the coolest guests.
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
And what I've gotten to see the last 6 months of your life and this interesting moment of transition that I'm really blessed to be part of. And I know you have so many things coming out. You've got the podcast is getting launched, some other things that you can talk about if you want. And then also, you've got some really cool events happening in November, and you've got some cool events happening next year where you're expanding your impact on the real estate community and the business community simultaneously. You're
got a lot going on for sure.
I know.
It's exciting. It's overwhelming. It's everything. All the feels.
And so let's look at the last 2 years, right? 2 years ago, you get into the billions of dollars in sales for your company. Mm-hmm. You cross the threshold. You have a little less than 500. Now you have a little less than 600. Mm-hmm. So you've increased your output in your company by 30%. Yeah. You're the biggest privately held brokerage in the state. Mm-hmm. You're ridiculously brilliant. And you're in a state where, it's a lot of dudes and you're just killing them, moving them out of the way.
I don't know about that.
Well, none of them are you. That's a fact.
Thank you.
That's a fact. So how is that happening for you? How's it unfolding? How's it unpacking? Because so many people today, and I don't know when you're coaching, when I'm coaching, I find out so many people they feel like this crazy thing, they call it imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, figure it out. You're here because you worked. Yep. So own it. Yeah. You're not an imposter, clearly. But you'll have a lot of finger pointing, especially in this moment in history with the election coming up. Mm-hmm. And you're prepped for those arrows. But how does that work with you? How do you get through that so that you can show up to all these podcasts and interviews with NBC and do all the things you're doing and then show up into your boardroom and own it? Tell us, how is that working and what are some of the tricks of the trade that we can apply so that we can get through those moments in our day that might not be as big, but they're still to us as stressful?
Yeah, it's crazy because I could look back for the 14 years I've been building the company, and it was legitimately just putting my head down, ignoring the noise, and getting a good day of work in.
So ignore the noise first.
Yeah. That was the best thing that ever happened to me. Granted, there was a lot of noise. And like you said, we've got kind of a patriarchal society here in Utah. It's not as bad as it used to be. But you got a lot of naysayers. You got a lot of people that are saying, oh, you'll never succeed. Oh, you're a cute woman. Whatever it is. And for me, it was crucial that I put my head down and worked. And it was almost like I didn't even lift my head up to go, wow, I'm succeeding. This is working. I just kept doing it. So it was staying in the moment in a way that you didn't even recognize that you were building something so great.
And that's, when you bring that up, it's funny when in 1996, we won the 1997 Salon of Year Award of Special Distinction. And it was a goal that I'd put out there in 1990 when I opened my, 89, 90, when I opened my first time. I said, I'm going to win this award.
Cool.
Right? I said, I'm going to win this award. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to win it. But you got to manifest it. But what was interesting is what you just said. For the first 6 years of my career as an owner, I literally couldn't tell you. I did not watch, I did not know The Simpsons was a cartoon.
Wow.
I never watched a single episode of Friends.
That's so funny.
Not one episode of Friends. And I read probably 1,500 to 2,000 books in about an 11, 12-year period of time because I just wanted to consume everything.
That's
so I
awesome.
Understand exactly what you're saying when you say you got to put your head down and just cut out the noise.
Yeah, and it's crazy, like you said,
It was easy for me. There was no internet.
Oh, yeah. But you know, it's funny because as you say that, it's like I'm the same way. People bring up some pop culture things and I'm always like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I literally just stay in the moment and work extremely hard all the time. And that's kind of what makes people like me hard to compete with, you know?
I think that you're not impossible to compete with, but someone's going to have to really do the work. Sure. And you're putting so much distance between you and the competitors that now you're breaking out of the state. So you have offices, I think, in Idaho.
Yep.
And you're building offices. You're looking at Arizona, Las Vegas, Colorado. I mean, clearly all of the surrounding states where your clients already have impact. And with 600 agents, I mean, you're clearly taking it to the next level. But you're also building out like the dream that, you know, like you have a ridiculous relationship with your husband. You do really cool things.
Sure.
You know, how do you put that together in a way that people just can, like, what should be my first step? If I want to get to where you are, work hard, everybody says it. What's a one or two things that I can do to get rid of the noise? How do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, it really truly is a little bit of distance yourself from it, keep yourself in a headspace. My parents will admit this. I challenge everything. If someone says you can't do it, it's like, wait, I think I can, and I go do it. And so challenge everything. The noise will tell you can't do it. The noise will tell you it's hard. The noise will tell you it's impossible. Challenge everything. Is this impossible? Can I do this? And once you get to that headspace, man, that self-confidence starts to grow. The more one foot in front of another, you're like, I can do this. This is possible.
Steps of confidence build the big, bring you towards the big dream. And I've heard that. What are some of the things that you work on to stay confident? Like, for me, I read.
Yeah.
You know, like I love reading and I love design, you know, and then I have my stupid little hobbies. Like I love watches, I love pens.
Love it.
You know, like those are my two little hobbies that I'm like, oh, okay, cool. You know, and chess. So those are the three ways that I currently disconnect. Now, some of my friends disconnect with bike riding, like a lot of my friends, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like that's a huge commitment. I don't want to drive 100 miles on a bike. Like, why would I do that when I have a beautiful car? You know,
Exactly.
And they're like, why would I buy a watch when my iPhone tells the time? You know, so we're both not understanding each other. Yeah. But the interesting part of it, you know, what do you do? What are some of the things that and how did you develop them? Because you maybe didn't start with them. Maybe you had to find ways to develop them. What are some of the things what are some of your hobbies that really kind of give you that moment of disconnect so that you can recuperate and then come back to you work an insane number of hours. Like you're up at 4 a.m. You're on literally NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox. You're doing a ton of interviews every week. I know that your name was even put out there this morning. And I was like, I called my PR people and I'm like, you gotta stop doing that without telling me. You know, it's like, so how do you find the time to be Jennifer?
You know, there's a lot of years that I didn't. And it actually impacted my marriage in a way that I was like, I didn't even realize it. My husband came to me one day and he's the least needy individual in the world. He's so selfless. You do your thing. Amazing, I got you. And he came to me one day and just basically said, something's got to change. And I was like, wait, what? I didn't even notice. And so he was like, Jen, you work all day, all night. I never see you. When you are at home, you're on your phone. We got to figure something out. And it was a really good moment for me to go, wow, I didn't realize what I was doing was affecting you. And I had to make a change, a massive shift. So now I spend some time in the spa. I do workouts. I try to be home every night by 6:00 to have dinner with my husband.
What's your That's super cool. Yeah. favorite spa treatment? Like, what's the one?
Massage all day long.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I love massages. Facials would be next. I mean, I could go on and on. I spend a lot of time in the spa.
I love it, man. Well, having owned a bunch of them, I'm like, I need more people like you.
Yeah.
Right? We need more, spa fans. But massage is the go-to?
Yeah, for me, for sure.
Cool. And is that deep tissue? Do you like the? Yeah. Hot stone? What do you think of that?
I love it all. You give me any sort of massage.
My favorite.
Oh yeah, that's great.
That's the one, where they're just pinching me. They're just pinching me. You want to hear a great spa story?
What?
I'm going to tell you a great spa story. I don't know if I should tell you this. I can't tell you exactly who I was with, but a very tall motivational speaker.
Oh, okay.
We were we went to Fez in Morocco right around 2002, 2003. And I was at the top of my spa game, and it was like, okay, cool, I'm going to write this off. Very expensive trip. We went with a small group of people. And I'm like, I got to write this off. Like you have those things in your life where you're doing them. You got to figure out how to write it off. So I was like, oh, well, there's these cool treatments in Morocco called, Hamas treatments or something like that. They're not Hamas treatments, but there's this cool spa treatment. I'm learning all about it, and it's with essential oils, and they have these super cool boar bristle and horsehair brushes. Nice, yeah. And they brush the oil into you, exfoliate your skin, and I'm like, I have to have me one of those, right? And this is way before the spa industry. So I tell my buddy, and we're at this time, you can see in my gallery, there's a picture of myself and a bunch of friends on camels in the Sahara Desert. So we just gotten back from the Sahara Desert. Now we're at an Amangan hotel, right? And they happen to specialize in this thing, and we're staying there for a few nights. And I'm like, oh, cool, I'm gonna go. So I had my team call ahead, and I've got all these treatments booked. So I told my buddy, and I'm like, you and your wife should get these treatments. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Well, of course. So he calls his team, right? Because he's got to have a bigger team than my team, and he books them. I'll never forget this. So I go into the spa treatment, and today we're pretty spa,
abundant,
but we understand there's new spa etiquette. We're not as shy as a culture.
Absolutely.
In the last 20 years, this is 20 years ago, and I walk in, and the steam room is split into this like a cross. Okay. Right, and you're going to take a steam, and you're going to hang out. So I'm looking for the treatment room. I'm thinking, and this little guy Akbad comes out with this thing, and he's like, "Oh, Peter," and they hand me this towel. It looks more like a washcloth, and I'm, I'm thinner than I was then now, but I'm still 6 feet. I'm like 225, 220, and I'm like, I'm a big guy, and I'm like, come on, you're embarrassing me with this washcloth, right? So I'm sitting there, like a man. But it's all steam. Yeah. And then the steam starts to dissipate. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. There's other guys around. Okay, cool. I'm still sitting there. I'm trying to be cool. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get the treatment. And I'm the first one to get the treatment because I booked in advance. Mm-hmm. And my buddy's going after me with his wife. So this other guy comes out, and he's got a yoke with 2 buckets. And one bucket has all these essential oils. The other bucket is water and brushes. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Guys stand up, and I'm like ready to follow him to the treatment room, right? You've been in treatment rooms, right? Yeah. They're beautiful. They give you beautiful tables and robes, and no treatment room.
What?
I'm standing in the
middle of everybody.
In the middle of everybody. Akbar he's cleaning under my arms with the thing. He lifts one of my legs. He's pulling apart my butt cheeks. I don't know what's going on. I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, for sure. You're waiting for the steam to fill back up.
And the whole time I'm thinking, my buddy, the famous celebrity and biggest motivational speaker in the world, is getting one of these treatments in about 15 minutes, and he's going to kill me. And then his wife gets a treatment, and I'm thinking to myself, so we got out, we were waiting for dinner, and my friend's about 4 or 5 inches bigger than me and outweighs me by about 60 pounds, and put me in a headlock. He goes, ever again, It was a great treatment though. But he had to do it in front of the whole group. And
That's so
yes,
funny. What a great story.
It was so embarrassing because I'm actually very timid. Now I had another famous client. I'll tell you a quick spa story, and then you can think of some of the things you're onto. I had another famous client whose mom came into the salon and spa. We closed it for a very famous singer. I can't tell you who she is, but she might have shaved her head once. And her mom came in and never had a spa treatment before. So I was the first person to do highlights on the mom. But I closed the whole spa down. And she said, okay, cool. And you know, she came out naked as the day she was born, walked right out of the spa treatment room. And I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Like, you gotta go back. She's like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. I'm like, well, it's surely not standing in my hallway naked, you know? Because it's interesting how now as a culture, fast forward 20 years, we're so acclimated to this spa life. And you know, you're naturally beautiful. I think I've told you that multiple times. And I love your hair this way, by the way.
Thank you.
It looks really good.
Thank you.
I like those subtle waves. I'm like, oh man, that looks really good. They did a great job with it.
Thanks.
And so you have the spa routine. Maybe so spas help you decon.
Yeah.
But let's be clear. That's, you know, we've both done well in our lives. We have a few dollars. So it's easier to go to the spa. Yeah. What if I can't go to the spa? What if I'm starting out and that money really needs to be allocated to the growth of my company? Because, you know,
I had many years like that.
Spas they can get crazy. You can spend $2-3 grand in a day. Yeah. So maybe I can't go to the spa. What else? What did you do when you were coming up to eliminate the noise?
You know, for me, it was a 12-hour day. That's how I eliminated the noise. But I read a lot of books as well. Audiobook, I love them. But
that's the generation.
Yeah, creating some fun things for you. We fostered dogs for years, and
I see you're always posting pictures of you and your dog.
Yeah, so you just have these little outlets that you feel like you're giving back, but you also feel like you're disconnected from work as well. So find something you love, find a hobby, and make sure you fit that in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Let me ask you a deeper question. One of the things is, because I already know you work because you'll text me at like 8 or 9 at night. on a Sunday, and you're like, of course I'm working. You know, I'm a realtor. I'm always working. I'm like, oh, okay, because I was scared to text you. And you're like, don't be scared. I'm working. Yeah. And I know this is probably for the people who are looking for work-life balance. This is not the show, right?
It can be at some point.
I'm going to share with you. I don't have balance because I love what I do.
Yeah.
I can get lost in a 12, 14-hour day, 7-8 days in a row because I love it. Is that bad? Like,
I'm the exact same way.
Too?
Like, it is my life, and there is no such thing as balance. What I do is my life. And so that's why when my husband came to me and said, hey, something's got to change, I was like, whoa, hang on. I didn't even realize that I needed to have some other life than what I'm doing. And so once that I was like, well, I don't want to lose my husband. He's the greatest thing that ever happened to me.
Greatest guy. I love
him.
I
had to make some adjustments, right? And so, and that's been good for me too. And I think it's good for any business owner that is putting in the time and doing the work. I went back to him and said, please give me one more year. I knew where I was going. I knew that I was almost there. And I said, one more year of this, and he agreed to it. And now today we have a lot of great things going for us. And I'm really grateful that he supported me through all of that, the growth of the company, because I wouldn't be who I am today if I didn't.
Yeah. And I think that there's a lot of wisdom to unpack with that is understanding that you have to love both sides. The falling in love with your job. Here's the interesting part. If you would have asked me when I was in high school, what do you want to do with your life? I know my high school yearbook's right over there, and I would have said, oh, I'm clearly going to be a lawyer, and everybody signed it. You're going to make a great lawyer. And I clearly didn't go to law school. I dropped out to go to become a cosmetologist. I never thought that I would do that, but interestingly enough, and I saw myself as an entrepreneur, but I didn't even know what the word meant. I didn't even know the word existed. I couldn't articulate to my own children how, or the people I coach, the importance of falling in love with what you do. And I want to say it in that way. You don't find what you love, you find ways to fall in love with what you do. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Did you find that when you were coming up? Because I've fallen in love with what I do. Mm-hmm. And the results and how it impacts everything in my life, my family, my business, my clients. I just love it. But I couldn't have articulated it. Like if I would have said, describe the best day. Oh, certainly the best thing in life is working 8, 10, 12, 20, 40, 50 days in a row, 15 to 20 hours. Like I wouldn't have asked to sign up for that. But I couldn't imagine not having it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think with success, there is an equal amount of frustration and failure and an equal amount. It's like the yin and the yang, right? And so knowing that you're going to be putting yourself out there and building something and creating something great for your life, you're going to have resistance as well. And so learning to love the resistance and seeing it in a way that you go, that's going to make me better. That hurts today, but I know, and find the blessing in the failures, find the blessing in those things. That's how I became in love with what I did. It was like, oh, this hurts, but I can change the narrative here. Does it hurt, or is this really good growth for me? It's just like when I go to the gym and I work out hard and my legs are jello and they're sore. I know it's going to be building something great. So that's the way I fell in love with what I did, because I changed the narrative. Is it good? Is it bad? No, it's good. It's always good for me.
I love that. So you're keeping the essence of your self-conversation in a positive, and you're always looking to redefine the conversation to be the positive. What can I find that's good? Because so many people, focus on the pain.
Oh, yeah.
They don't focus on the potential.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say pleasure, because the pleasure is so removed. You've got to stay focused on the potential.
Yep, for sure.
And that so if you're grabbing a piece of wisdom, stay focused on the potential, find the good, change the self-rhetoric. What's going on in your life? Like, what are you looking forward to? So most people they never get to where you are, but they're happy with 10 agents or 12 agents.
Sure, yeah.
You have 600. Now what might be something that might inspire you in the future? Give us a taste.
Inspire me?
Inspire you.
Like where I'm going?
Oh, not maybe where you're going, but maybe what might inspire you to think about a direction.
2 years ago, I got approached to do a reality show. Mm-hmm. And it's one of those things that I just don't think anybody, regardless to how people feel about reality shows, would turn down when they own a business. Because again, you look at the pros and the cons and you go, could this help my business? Could it hurt? Sure. Could it help? Sure. So I'm a total risk taker. And for me, it was like, I'm going to take this risk. And for 2 years now, we've been building the show. We filmed it. We are airing sometime in December this year.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah. And that's a huge risk for me. And so right now, I feel like there are so many doors and opportunities that can be utilized from this opportunity that I'm super excited about.
How do you protect the opportunities of the future and the machine of the present?
It's about hiring the right who's. I have an incredible team at my company. And no joke, when I filmed, it was 3.5 months of 4 or 5 days a week filming. And I was gone. I was AWOL. And my team was like, we got this. And yeah, there was days when I went back in and I was, hurried and did an exec meeting, did a staff meeting to make sure they saw my face, but I just wasn't, my hands were totally in the business. And it is so crucial that you hire the right who's, and WHOS, who's, and you fire quickly. When somebody is not a team player and not working for you, you got to pull the trigger and say, got to go. So that's been a huge key to my success in terms of all this growth and change. And I'm so grateful for my team.
Yeah, it's always the team, right?
Yeah.
The teams that I have now are just incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
But you have to, what do you think helps you determine a great team member for you, right? It'll be different for me. I have different needs, like for me, like whatever, but maybe I'm a Ginzo from Brooklyn, right? Loyalty, like
For
just be,
sure.
like keep your mouth shut, be loyal, right? That's
Sure.
right. That's that's the Goomba way.
Yeah.
Right. But for somebody else, it might be different, right? Probably smarter people are like, oh, you should really be competent at your job.
For sure.
But I have read that loyalty is important. That the people who hire for loyalty and for values and then teach skills sometimes do better than the people who hire for skills.
I completely
What's
agree.
You agree with that?
Oh, yeah. You can always train skill, but you cannot train loyalty. That's a
Yeah.
characteristic. And so it is one of those things that if you can find somebody that shows up as a team player, sees the vision with you, like I have an exec member that, no joke, my company is my baby. I mean, if you call it ugly, I'll cry my eyes out, right? And so
But it's very beautiful.
I'm not even joking. And
I
so
love
it's one of those things that it's so personal to me.
So personal.
That when I see someone on my exec team stand up for the company in a way that I would, it's like loyal.
Yeah. Oh man, I
So
love
cool.
that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's so fun to be around people like that too, because they have this vision of the company. They're just basically, like you said, like the yoke, they are next to you. We're moving this thing forward together. And that is invaluable.
Yeah. I looked back at the team that we created in the late 80s and early 90s. And when I transferred ownership to them in the early 2000s, we were able to, they ran it and they're still running it. And it's
Love
like
it.
amazing to me that original.
That's probably
core
one of the
group.
best compliments you could ever get.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah.
I did get a compliment I'll share with you. And you're probably going to start getting these. I was hard to work for.
Really?
Oh man,
I'm not easy to work for either, though.
My standards were up here. I know. You can't be because you have standards. So we had these training programs and these standards, and I was very tough on my team. And then interestingly enough, about 6-7 years ago, I started getting these Facebook messengers, like people find you on Facebook. So they're messaging me and they're like, man, I hated you, but I want to thank you.
Yeah.
I'm actually teaching those same lessons now to my children.
Yeah.
I'm applying them to my business. We started our own business. We've won awards
Love
too now.
that.
We're making lots of money. And I really needed to thank you because I think I might have been a little hard on you and unjust because I mistook your firmness for something else. And now that I see I needed those standards and you needed to interact with me the way you did, even if it was tough.
That's an incredible compliment.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because came at the time then where I needed it, because your second career is always a lot different than your first.
Sure. Yeah, as a CEO, you have to make decisions that a lot of people don't understand sometimes. And yet, if they evolve as a person later on in life and look back and go, wow, I can now see why they made that decision or why they were tough on me or why they had high expectations and they appreciate it, that's a beautiful thing. There are a lot of people that you'll hire that'll be employees that will always be the clocker inners and the clocker outers, always. And so to have the people that actually step back and go, now I know why he did that. Now I know why she does that.
So one of the cool things I think that you're doing is that you're doing events that allow other agencies, brokers, you're inviting them to come in, see how we do it, apply it to what you're doing. It is an open conversation so that you can drive the community of realtors forward. That's a huge gift, and most people aren't going to give that gift.
Yeah.
What made you want to open it up to everybody else?
Well, when I started the company, my vision of realtors was we're in the top 3 most untrusted professions: lawyers, car salesmen, and realtors. And if that's what the general public seriously thinks about us, that's so sad, because my very first sell to a client that bought a house, we cried together. They walked in and they're like, this is our family. I can see our family here. I'm crying. He's crying. We're going, this is amazing, right? And I was like, I took it personal. Man, I care about my clients. So I started the company with the motto of raising the bar. We got to be better than this, guys. We got to be better than the norm. If the general public thinks that about us, we got to do better. And so for me, if I'm going to raise the bar in this industry, I'm opening it to everyone. Come see how we do this. Come learn with us. Let's be better together so that the general public goes, I wouldn't sell a house without an agent. There's no way.
Yeah. And I think how you're doing it and what you're doing it. How can people find out more about you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm
I know
everywhere.
They can go to jenniferyeo.live.
Yes.
They
for
can
sure.
download your new podcast. I think that they're launching, I want to say maybe tomorrow. So by the time this is out, they'll have launched.
Yeah.
So jenniferyeo.live.
Yep.
And tell us some other ways.
I'm on Instagram as It's Jennifer Yeo. I'm on Facebook, Jennifer Yeo. I'm on LinkedIn, Jennifer Yeo. You can find me everywhere.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And what if I wanted to be an agent with you?
Call her 801-251-MOVE.
801-251-MOVE, Presidio.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah.
And what's the new show called? Can you tell us?
Yep, it's called Sold on SLC.
Sold on SLC. It is a new reality show. It's on Bravo. It airs in December. You need to watch it. You need to follow Jennifer. She's a dragon, man. If you want to take it to the next level, this is the person that you have to mentor. We love you.
Thank you
So much.
I'm so
Thank
happy
you for
to be
the
here.
time today. I
This was so
appreciate
fun.
you.
Thanks, Peter Anthony. You're awesome.
Oh, man.